So you want to be a dungeon master?
So you want to be a dungeon master?
So you want to be a DM?
Name some feats, okay? Feats.
So you want to be a DM?
That's great. We're here to help. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Justin. This week, we're sitting down with one half of the TTRPG Podcast, Dungeons and Degrees, friend of the channel, performer, creator, owner of Fuzzy Sweaters. I know this for a fact. I gave him a big hug during PAX U. A guy full of emotions and starring in our next actual play, Kids on Jetskis. It's Adrian AKA ACLawrence. And not only are we going to get to learn about Adrian, but we're also going to be discussing a theme found in most, if not all, TTRPGs: failure. So grab your unlucky dice, cash in those adversity tokens, and let's jump in. Firstly, Adrian, thank you so much for being here with us.
What a beautiful intro. Thank you. Yes. I'm Adrian, and yeah. What else do I say? That was so good. Okay. I'm just here on the internet just talking and having fun, okay? And now I'm here with y'all. So I'm still doing the same thing. So yeah. You find me on Dungeons and Degrees. It's all over the internet. Go find it.
All right.
Hell
Okay,
yes, we will.
Let's get into it then.
But first, always got to be a first. Gang, Sam Reich of Dropout has said that Nat 1s are more interesting than Nat 20s in terms of storytelling, obviously using D&D as the system in that statement. How do we feel about this? Do we agree? Do we disagree? Where are we at in terms of Nat 1s versus Nat 20s from a storytelling standpoint?
I agree, mainly for the fact that Nat 20s, if they happen all the time, it can feel kind of bland, but if you kind of roll Nat 1s, you can have character growth from that versus already being at that pinnacle. So I can see it as a great thing.
Yeah, I do think that having Nat 1s come up does tell a bit of a better story, mainly because it puts that adversity in front of the players and they have to overcome it because the dice have decided, okay, well, you're going to have a hard time with this now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's definitely, and it kind of leads to our kind of theme for the episode today of failing forward, of, like it gives you an opportunity to maybe you don't get all the information. Maybe you only get a little bit of the information. Maybe you absolutely whiff on that attack and now the bad guy gets away. And now you have to do a whole nother thing. There's a whole list of reasons why, and that one is narratively very fun.
Right. I tend to agree. I think that when you put them side by side and you have to make this comparison in the form of a question like this, I don't know who worded this question, but our writers, I think I have to talk to them, whoever makes these outlines. But I do think that it is more interesting to fail because of the opportunities it presents, because it truly does, like both of you were saying, it just gives you opportunities to go in more directions because you either are growing from that mistake or you're figuring out what went wrong or you're dealing with the consequences of that fallout. Whereas the Nat 20 success is like, you fucking nailed it. Okay, moving on. Like it does feel a little anticlimactic at times. Obviously, there's a lot of context and nuance, as is true with all TTRPG questions. Because like in combat, a Nat 1 doesn't feel as fun or interesting as like a Nat 1 out of combat. Because if we're thinking about D&D specifically, okay, I'm the fighter. I go up to hit Nat 1. Whoa, what a fucking awesome story. Like it's like not, it kind of just shuts it down because of the way that system is set up. Obviously, you can describe it and maybe after the battle that Nat 1 meant something and you could apply a lot of stuff to it, but in the moment you're kind of just like, oh, that sucks.
And I think the way that I was like also thinking about, like, if I see someone with like a bunch just hitting like high numbers, 20s all the way down the line, it's like, okay, cool, this guy's just doing his business. And then if they get a 1, they missed one. versus someone who's been failing the whole time and then finally tasting success.
Yeah.
The table's energy kind of like pops like, yes, yes, you did it.
The curse is lifted.
Exactly.
Oh,
You're not
yeah.
getting the that same reaction the other way around.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
in a dire straits situation, yes, it
Mhm.
could suck the whole game away. But I think that, like I said, opportunity to have growth feels so good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. That's why I'm so interested in playing other systems and stuff like that. And we'll get into this when we get into the actual topic of this this week's episode, failing forward, because when you're using a system like D&D, it's just inherently different. You kind of, I think maybe like the newer editions try and address this a little bit better than older editions in terms of, for example, we are a big fan of like using a range of DCs, like a scale, as opposed to just being like picking the lock is either pass fail. And it's
Right.
you either hit the 15 or you don't hit the 15. You either pick the lock or don't pick the lock. And it's a little more interesting to kind of be like, oh, okay, you failed by a lot. Maybe your lock picks broke. Now you have to figure out the next steps. Or maybe you only failed by a little bit. So maybe you do pick the lock. It just takes longer. There's a millions of different ways, and we'll go over that later on. I think, yeah, I think system by system, this feels different. Am I alone in that? Do you guys feel similarly? Like a nat 1 or whatever is considered a quote unquote critical
Right.
fail or whatever
Mhm.
in D&D feels inherently a little different than it would in a game like Kids on Bikes.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's in my mind, mainly because Kids on Bikes rolls failure into the mechanics of the game. When you fail in D&D, that's it. Okay, cool. You failed. No more, you've lost your resource, whatever. It's almost always mechanically losing something. Whereas in Kids on Bikes, you're gaining something. Even if you do lose, you still gain your adversity tokens. You still are able to do other stuff in the future with the fact that you failed. D&D,
For
it's
sure.
just kind of like one and out.
I'm just, like going through some games in my head, and I was thinking of like Shadowrun, where it's a D6 pool system where ones are called glitches, and those, if they outweigh your hits, it's catastrophic. But you still have, an ability called luck that you can use to start to reroll. Like, and I'm guessing D&D would be the same thing would be for like inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm like, so they always have some sort of balancing act. Like, okay, this sucks when it just messes up completely. How do we make sure that they have a mechanic that would allow them to try once more?
Mhm.
Right.
That is true. That's very true. There's also a lot of abilities throughout D&D and the different classes and stuff that can help you with dice rolls in general, whether it's rerolls or advantage or adding different bonuses to it and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, in 2024, the barbarian can now use their rage out of combat to apply their strength to like nature checks or survival checks and stuff like that. So it just greatens their chances. Because I mean, we're talking about TTRPGs that, for the most part, use dice or some form of chance system. So naturally, failure is going to come up just by statistics and the law of big numbers. Like, it's just going to happen sometimes. So we have to deal with it. But I've been on the other end of like being the DM where I'm bringing people in who either haven't played D&D or like maybe D&D is not like their chosen system. And it can feel shitty when it's like, okay, I've been waiting until it's my turn in combat. I get a one attack, I miss. Okay, that's my turn. And that can feel shitty.
Right.
Right. So it's like sometimes during combat, I am struggling. I'm also the person who's like, okay, I hit. Oh, 2 damage. And I'm the DM who every time goes, hey, it all adds up. Just that little bit of encouragement.
Mhm.
Let's keep it positive. Hey, it adds up. Hey, that's damage that they wouldn't have taken otherwise. You did a great job. Don't even worry about it. 200 minus 2, 198 hit points left. Like, but All right,
Someone's got to hit the
awesome.
last one.
Always. So let's get into the meat of the episode. But first, before I do that, I got to plug the Patreon. I'm so sorry, gang. Let me just get this out of the way really quickly. Gang, have you heard about the Patreon? My goodness, there's so many cool things on there. You got to check it out. We have free homebrew magic items that come out once a week. We got subclasses on there that we've created. The College of the Crypt Bard just came out, Adrian. You should check it out. It's fucking awesome. Imagine a bard who tells scary stories around a campfire. So often, they're so immersed in this horror that they can use their bardic inspiration to transform into the very monsters that they tell stories about. So I've jacked the fuck out of wild shape from druids, and I was like, but what if we gave it to bards? And so the bard can turn into a porcelain doll,
What?
a
Scary.
werewolf,
What the hell?
or a swamp thing. And each one has different stats. Like the porcelain doll is not very good at attacking, but they have a higher speed than a lot of the other ones, because that's crazy.
It's
Just the
terrifying.
idea of a porcelain doll
Absolutely.
with like 40-foot speed.
Have you ever
to me.
played Pacify?
Pacify. No.
Pacify. Okay, so there's like 3 levels, and you have to go and get these little talismans from around the levels and burn them. One of them is a little porcelain doll that actually moves so scary fast. It's actually horrifying.
Yeah.
To just be, you'll come around a corner and you'll just see like 2 or 3 little dolls just skitter away, and it's like, whoa.
Like roaches to the to the night.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love that. We also have another one that's probably going to come out sometime this month, I think, where it is a fighter subclass called the Punk. And I'm working in collaboration with the Banished, which is like a collective that tries to sell merch and clothing so that they can fund smaller creators to go to conventions and their projects and stuff like that. Check them out at thebanished.store. But what I will say is, in working together with Dave, aka Skookabilly, that's like his internet handle. We've been working together. So like one of the abilities is just called universal healthcare, where the fighter can share their second wind. And then the 18th level subclass ability is just called No Masters. Once per day, you can just flip off the DM. It says this word for word. You give the DM the middle finger and you force them to re-roll a dice. Once per day, you can just be like, fuck you, DM. Fuck you. No Masters. Fuck you. I just love it. It's so fun. It's a beautiful subclass. I'm so excited about it. But anyway, let's get into the meat of the episode now. So,
but first, no, we're
done with that, Taylor. That's it. That's in the past. We're moving on to the future. We're failing forward. So, Adrian, I believe we first sort of met via the internet. We were both content creators. Our paths had crossed at a certain point, and I think it was probably like the charity TTRPG talk kind of stuff, like the January charity drives back in like 2024. I want to say was the first one.
Yes.
And I think we may have either like worked on a project really quickly or something, and then I had appeared on Dungeons and Degrees. Man, I listened to that episode back, like, when it came out.
Yeah.
There are things that I get way comfortable on other people's podcasts. The things that I share on other people's podcasts, I listen back and I'm like, damn, I did talk about that. That's crazy. And it's never anything that I'm like, I should have told them to cut this out or anything. It's not like that. It's just like, you and Alex have this ability to, you guys are just very like, what's the word I want to use? Like welcoming and like warm, and like made me feel very welcome in a way where my guard got lowered. Maybe this is a testament to you as an interviewer, but
it's just, we want to listen, and we push that envelope. Like, tell us more, and also I'm going to contribute as well. So just like, it's not this like the balancing act within interviewing is sometimes tough, because sometimes a guest can like take over, and as me and Alex are both kind of people pleasers, we're like, we'll let them talk forever, and it's fine. Like this is we can talk whenever we want, okay? But we have you for an hour, so we'll let it go, kind of thing.
That's so fun. Yeah, I think you guys are so sweet. It was so nice running into you at PAX U and stuff.
Mhm.
Just the
Thank you.
biggest of hugs and just being like,
I love a good
yeah,
hug.
Adrian's as tall as I thought he was, pretty much.
That feels good. Okay, thank you. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was great. But let's get into some questions. So
Cool.
I've done a little bit of research. I'm by no means Taylor and I, we're not Sean Evans yet. We're not Nardwar yet, but we're trying to get there. That's the idea. Because like, you know, a lot of our friends do interviews. A lot of other creators in the space, they interview different creators and game designers and performers and all that kind of stuff. And so like the one thing I didn't want to fall into was like, so when did you first start playing D&D? And like, what was your first, you know what I mean? Like,
start throwing stones at my podcast already.
No. Somebody has to ask those questions. And I think that there's value in all of them. I'm not trying to discredit them at all. It's simply, I'm sure you've been asked those questions before on other places. And so if people want to find those answers, go to those other places is what I'm saying. So for here, our first question for you is, so I heard that your dad TPK'd you and your brother with rats in one of your very first tabletop role-playing game experiences. Tell us a little bit more about that. What was that like?
It sucked. Okay, I don't know. There's a few other answers to give. I stopped playing like D&D after that for like I was young, so not until college. So I would say like I was like third grade, maybe younger. So I stopped until I left that house of like bad memories of D&D, and then I'm just like reminiscing. I'm like, you know what college kids do? They play D&D, right? So let's do that. That's where my dad played. And maybe finally I won't freaking die.
That's so
Wow,
funny. Was it just
you out of D&D completely?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it did. And look at me now.
Full circle. Truly failing forward, some would say, right? Getting to this point where you're like, this is not for me, or this was a bad experience, and giving it a second chance later on. It's so interesting you say that too, because that was kind of my first experience with D&D. I've talked about it before. I think I talked about it on your guys on the Dungeons and Degrees episode, where like my first experience with D&D was terrible. The group was good. The players were great. It was the DM. This one dude, random person from Roll20 had a group, said that it welcomed new players and all this kind of stuff, and it was a free game, and was just all the red flags. And these days, I would have easily be able to recognize them. I wouldn't even give that person the time of day.
Right.
At the time, I didn't really know any better. It was like, oh, is this how it is? Like, I don't really know any better. Like in Game of Thrones, there's sexism and disgusting things happening, but that's Game of Thrones, which is medievally and fantasy. So like, maybe this is okay. And then talking to the other players and being like, oh, it's not. Oh, okay.
This is not the
norm.
Good
to know.
Yeah.
Yes. So that first experience being quite a negative one, coming back around in college, did you like find a group in college that played?
No, I was the one. Well, I just found a group, and then I said, I kind of threw this idea. We should try this out. We did not know what the hell we were doing. We didn't know how opportunity of attacks went, so we were just like unlimited opportunity of attacks for everybody. Like, what do you mean? Like, because we just kind of jumped into it, and the guy who was DMing us was like, "You're level 1. Here's 45 skeletons." And also they have the ability, if they go to 0, they might still stand. And all our characters died then as well, except for one who ran away. And I'm like, why did you run away? The paladin anyways. And then we rerolled characters, and we like, okay, now we know how this works. Let's go again. Like I think that's just kind of part of DMing and playing is to fail forward. Wow. I said the thing. Because we're not going to be perfect. And I think that's just part of like life in general. And I think that you have to be okay with messing up. You have to be okay with being bad at this thing that you're doing right now. And you can learn from people who, might have more experience or just kind of are willing to pause, wait, and learn this whole game with you. So
Yeah. To quote Adventure Time, being bad at something is the first step at being kind of good at something.
it's a good quote.
So true. It's so true. I know many of us have our own neurospiciness going on. And so I know how sometimes when you're bad at something, it's like the most discouraging thing. You're
Oh,
like, well,
yeah.
I don't want to do this. I'm bad at it.
Yeah.
Here's this thing I'm good at. I'm just going to double down. And it's like such an easy thing to fall into, right?
Yeah.
Of being like, I'm good at this, so I like it. I'm not good at this, therefore I do not like it. Right. And it's like so hard to switch that hardwiring sometimes. But one thing, Adrian, I think you're very good at is having a podcast with Alex. And so I'm curious, how did you guys meet? How did you guys decide to start a podcast? What has that been like?
It's kind of funny. How we met, I was bad at school. So and Alex was my like counselor for that. Like I failed so many classes that I like, hey, you gotta go talk to somebody about that to kind of reform yourself. And I'm like, okay, cool. And Alex was just very nerdy already. So we talked about Overwatch, we talked about other things. And we just started connecting. And then I graduated, Panini happened, and then I don't know why Alex
happened. I've never heard it referred to as that.
And I don't know why Alex, but I did. I asked, hey, I remember. Sorry, click. I was trying to get back into college for a master's program, and I wanted to connect with somebody, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna connect with this person, and since then, I haven't gotten a master's program, but I got Alex into D&D because that was like it was Dungeons and Degrees. That's how we kind of made the name. It was supposed to be like doing two things at once and just communicating and thriving, but now it's just we talk to a bunch of creators and find Alex a partner as well by going to connecting with a bunch of people. So it's been good. Alex is much more chaotic than I am. Or at least I have to be less chaotic because Alex is there. One of the two. Because I feel like I fill a role. And if there's no chaos, I will be that chaos. I will push the button. So yeah, it's a good time. It's been great.
Awesome. Because I know you guys are like, I think I checked recently, you guys are like 175 episodes deep.
Yes.
What have you learned about podcasting, and maybe what has podcasting taught you? See what I did there?
You can shoot your shot with almost anybody. You can ask anybody anything, and if they say no, that's fine. Like, yeah, it sucks, but at least you now know. And at least you kind of like, okay, well, let's ask somebody else. Like, people are very nice. People love talking about the things that they love talking about. So it's always nice. And then also watching the passion in their eyes, in their voice, and when they talk about the things they love fills my cup. I think that there was a lot of currently we're on kind of a hiatus due to life, but I think I've kind of stressed myself of like keeping a schedule. It is important if you want to kind of grow in that matter, but also like then you have to do social media. I think for me personally, the podcasting thing is just a good way to connect. Setting aside an hour to find individuals that share your interest and just kind of shooting the shit and learning more and learning from them, because you don't have all the ideas in the world. Everybody else has their own thing, and you might have the same thing, but you get to share in this moment together and build community, which is so important.
Yeah, especially nowadays, more important than ever. Goodness gracious. Yeah. So often what I have found in our line of work, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
is when we find people who are not only interested in D&D and other tabletop games, but also from like a performing standpoint, whether it be actual plays or their own narrative podcasts or what have you. There are a lot of people who have some sort of drama, acting, improv experience. Have you ever
Yes.
done anything like that before putting yourself out there on a podcast or doing an actual play or anything like that?
No. I I didn't, which because like I mean a lot of them are drama kids or
Mhm.
improvs or anything like
Oh
that.
yeah.
And I just was never like that, like wanting to be out there. And my training was being a DM, voice, being silly little voices, creating on the
Mhm.
spot, being confident with choices. Um, and I think earlier, last year in like right before the end of the year, I did finally take like an improv class. And I think that it just helps enhances what you've kind of like already know. These just
Mm-hmm.
like simple things, but just like the kind of what is it called? The neural pathways of like doing a certain way to like this is how to be funny, or this is why it's funny, or this is why
Mhm.
it's important to kind of like you're there with a partner. You're not there to kind of like clash with them. Is
Mm-hmm.
like important things that like yeah I knew, but then I had to put into action over and over for the course of the class, and it really kind of reinforced these things that helped me become a better interviewer, performer, and just DM.
It's awesome. That's so cool because I know Taylor and I both also similarly like don't not I took a
No.
drama class in college, but it was
Mm-hmm.
an English class that focused on drama, and so we would do table reads. So and then we would put on performances, but we always had the script in front of us, so I never had to worry about memorizing lines, and it wasn't
Right.
like we're getting into costume or there's any set design whatsoever. And that was like so game changing for me because I remember in high school I was always interested, but it was like I don't want to sing. And for some reason, my high
Right.
school only does musicals, and I don't fucking want to be in Guys and Dolls. So what am I gonna do? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so in college, we start doing these drama classes for English, for my English double major, and it was so good. I actually had just recently, within the last month or two, reached out to that professor because
Mm-hmm.
he's like in his 80s. He's still teaching there, and I was like, Dr. Ulmer, what's up, man? I was like, I kind of took I was pre-med, and he straight up was like the only professor who had the guts to be like, don't be a doctor, go to England, do theater. And I remember being like, you're crazy. Like, what? You want me to go to You think I have what it takes to go to England and do theater in
Mm-hmm.
England? Like, that's crazy talk.
Yeah,
Um,
go do
and look at
Shakespeare for
us
the
now.
Shakespeare people.
And look at us to be or not to be.
Yeah.
Fucking obsessed with it. So that's so interesting. That's really fun. I agree wholeheartedly that being a DM kind of forces you to take on those many hats. It's so
Yeah.
crazy how many transferable skills there are when you're a DM. Not to like make
Oh
this a
yeah.
resume builder kind of vibe, but like
But if you
genuinely,
had to,
genuinely, yeah, you do learn so much.
Yeah.
Um, our next question takes a little bit of a break quickly from the education and
mm-hmm.
standpoint of things. Um, the way I've worded this is because I listened to your interview with Star, and I know that you created a character that was like secretly a communist and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But, comrade, tell us what has radicalized you. I think that it's important these days that we
Yeah.
talk about these kinds of things. I see graphics all the time on the internet of just the idea of like empathy radicalized me, and I think that there's something to be said in that. But I
Mm-hmm.
want to give you the opportunity. I know that you and I are quite similar when it comes to certain views
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the state of the country, and Taylor same in the same
yeah.
boat.
Yeah,
Burn
listen,
it down, baby.
if ACAB, fuck guys, free Palestine, all that shit. The radicalization. I had this conversation like last month with my brother. Like, what made me feel the way that I'm feeling right now? Is it just because I was taught early on that this, a golden rule, treat your neighbor as yourself. Like, I was raised Catholic. Um, so like these things stuck around. And then when I start to see it like not happening in real life, it kind of upset me. And I'm like, what happened? Yeah.
Hmm.
One, not everyone's Catholic. That's fine. But two, some of the people that are Catholic are doing this. What the hell?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just I think I know how it feels to be, hungry, financially unstable, mentally unstable. And I know these things. I've been there. Why would I want that upon anybody else? And
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
basically it is empathy. But that's because I've lived through it. Not because, oh, that looks bad. It's, oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah. And I
Right.
would
Right.
never wish it on anybody else, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I
But
agree.
go ahead.
Mhm. No, go for it.
Uh, um, and that's the thing, like, and then we have people like that currently higher ups that are purposely doing this to us.
Mhm.
And so it like when people are like, what do you mean like eat the rich or no more billionaires? I'm like, it's because they're like siphoning off so much of the pie that we're fighting for the scraps
Yeah.
and it turns on us. And I'm like, it's just so blatantly evil.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it truly is crazy. Like I remember this is kind of interesting to think about now because my grandma always blames me being
Mhm.
like left on the
Yes,
left
yes,
side
yes.
at all, whether whatever. Because I went to college, because God forbid you get an education that naturally just
God
demonizes
forbid I
you.
learn about other things.
Yeah, it did me dirty apparently because now I feel things for people who don't look like me. God forbid, right? Like what a
You
fucking
fucked
tragedy
up.
that
You
is.
could have been just like clueless, unaware.
Seriously, I mean I see Daniel the DM doing his fake D&D grifter podcast thing like where he's obviously joking but he's like brings Vecna on as a
Hmm.
character and he's like
Mhm.
no, you're all right. You're a good guy in crypto and this and that and he's joking
Yeah.
obviously. But it truly is there are times where I'm like damn my conscience dude. I could make so much money as a grifter. Like are you
Right.
kidding me? A non-binary grifter, like they're out there already probably, but Jesus Christ, I could crush it. But truly it is like just having the compassion. I just don't
Mhm.
understand this concept of it, even to like bring it to a much lower stakes situation of like student loans. Like this mentality of like, well, I had to pay student loans and I had to suffer and I
Hmm.
had to pay these
Right.
extravagant fucking rates and I'm still paying them back. So therefore, everybody else should suffer.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
We can't forgive them because I had to do it. And it's like, what a fucking weird mentality. Like,
Yeah.
I just
And
don't
it's
understand that
and a lot of
concept.
times it comes from
Hmm.
people who didn't do that. Like a lot of people who make the complaints of like student debt forgiveness or whatever are already
Hmm.
from households that make 6, 7 figures a year. Like
Right.
they're not worried. They've never had to struggle with actually paying off the debt. I know that in my mind, I when I go through a hardship or something like that, my brain is not, oh, I I need to inflict this same pain on everybody else. It's I don't want anybody else to have to go through that again. Like
Mm.
I
Right.
genuinely this was bad. I really legitimately do not wish for anybody to have to go through it. It sucks that I had to go through it, but if I can keep somebody else from having to, that's awesome. That's perfect. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's
100%.
just so hard nowadays to look at all of the stuff that's going on and just like see that a lot of people just don't give a shit about people anymore. Like nobody gives a shit. It's all passing the buck.
Yeah, I
A
think
lot
yeah.
of, oh well, I'm this way because of X, because I experienced this. I'm this way because my parents raised me. I'm this. It's always pushing it onto something else. It's annoying. I hate it.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like until it happens to someone near to them that it'll actually affect them, kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
And
You hope, at least, almost. You hope that that's what, like, unfortunately, no, I don't want
Yeah,
it to get to that level of extreme where it's like you need to have this crazy thing happen to a family member or a loved
yeah,
one.
Right.
And like, but some of the people we're talking about, like higher ups in this fucking
Mhm.
regime, it's truly like, I don't think it would change them. Stephen
Right.
Miller's wife, something I don't even know if he's got a wife, that fucking virgin. But like anything could happen, and I don't think that motherfucker's changing his mind at all. I think he's just
Mm-mm.
through and through a Nazi. But like that's an
Mhm,
extreme
mhm.
example. For most ordinary people,
Right.
I do have a certain level of sympathy, and on one side of my brain of like, I just think that they're morons, and like the way our education system works with media literacy and this and that. I'm just like, you've just fell for the propaganda. Like it's not even that you're just dumb, and you
Right.
fell for all this stuff and the red, white, and blue banners of it all, and American exceptionalism and the
Mhm, mhm.
whitewashing of our history and stuff and
Yeah.
everything. And then there's the other part of my brain that's like, with the internet, you can't. I refuse to let you fall back on this like
Yeah.
ignorance of
Oh,
like
I
I
didn't
didn't know
know.
any better. And it's
Uh-huh.
like,
Mhm.
no, not anymore, at least. I mean, I understand the way algorithms work and the fucking
Yeah,
echo
yeah.
chambers and stuff. Like it's possible.
Mhm.
Cause like I went to my local dispensary and I was wearing a pin on my denim jacket that says they, them. It has my pronouns on it. And
Mhm.
this like older dude who works there started asking me questions about it. And it was like a really nice exchange. But
Mhm.
it's like for that type of situation, I totally understand of like, I get why you are kind of hitting this hurdle of like, but they, them is plural. Like I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it
yeah.
because you may not have anybody super close in you who feels comfortable talking about this, whatever. Let me be that shepherd to carry you through. I'm fine with
Mhm.
that. You know, like, so yeah, I just think that it's like such a challenging thing because it's so hard for me. My biggest struggle is like almost a level of like superiority. Like I hear about certain right wing people, and
Mhm.
I struggle with this idea of like you're dumb as dirt. And I recognize that's not the most helpful. It's not necessarily going to be. I'm not good at being the person to bring you along the side of being like, let me help you and get you over to this side of history because
Mhm.
it's not looking good for you. Because I'm constantly like, I'm filled with so much anger
Yeah.
and disgust and stuff, especially these days. I mean, because we're talking about
Yeah.
really, really heinous things that our government is doing currently. But before we go too deep into that, because I feel like we could do an entire
Oh
episode on
yeah, we
that, and
could.
maybe in
I
the
saw this
future,
question and I'm just like, how much
here we
time do you
go.
got?
I
How much
know.
time do you
I know,
got?
and unfortunately, we don't have all the time in the world. Maybe we'll come back to this episode when we, Taylor and I have been dying to play Eat the Reich,
Oof. I've played it so many
and
times. It's so good.
it's so funny.
Hell
So
yeah.
I brought it up in our one of our last episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So in the very beginning of the book, it says what this game is, and then it says what this game isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's a challenge. So I'm going to play the game exactly how it says not to play the game, because it says don't do an open-ended campaign game where you can explore the intricacies of your bespoke character arc. Bet. I'm going to do that. I want to know why these people turned into vampires, how they turned into vampires, why they're fighting the Nazis, all
Mm-hmm,
while
mm-hmm.
fighting the Nazis. Lots of
Mhm.
flashback scenes. You know me, I'm a sucker for a flashback. But speaking of flashbacks, do you see the segue? I'm crushing this, dude.
You're absolutely
Speaking
destroying these segues.
speaking of segues, let's segue into this next question. You have a bachelor's in psychology, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Hell yeah. What was your favorite class in college?
uh Funny enough, It was the film class that I took for my minor.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell
What kind
yeah.
of film class was it?
Ah, what's it called?
I took a film class in college
think
on Alfred Hitchcock.
There was one that was just very like the intro, and then there's another one that was just solely on, I think it was Star Wars, where we just talked all about
Rad.
it and how it was what's it called? They talked about like fan editing and what that means within a culture. Um and it was just a really good time. Um and I just like it was just more it was so much enjoyable because in between that I was taking my actual psychology classes, which the higher up classes, man, talking about the intricacies of the brain, the neural pathways, what happens if you have this or that, and then perception. Oh, perception was such a weird, cool class where it was just talking about like, oh, the rods in your eyes do this and this, and then this is what happens with your brain, and I'm like, it was so difficult. It was like one of the few classes I actually had to study for. That one and the chemistry of the brain. They're tough, but
Yikes.
Chemistry is tough.
Yikes.
the teachers were so helpful, were so positive that I was able to do it. I think if I had someone that was just like a hard ass, I don't know if I would respond well, but those were my favorite classes.
Amazing. Was there a particular class or professor that you genuinely were like, fuck, but you think about it today? Because I have a couple in terms of favorite classes. It's that drama class with Dr. Mike Ulmer. I think about him all the fucking time in that class. Past that, like, I had a really good Gen Chem 2 professor, Dr. Khan. I even asked him to write me a letter of recommendation for med school when I was considering that route still. And he was like, you got to be in my class. And I was like, yeah, but you're fucking awesome, dude. And it was like, the only reason I got to be was because of you. Like, it would have gone way worse. He's like, he's like, I'm not used to writing letters of recommendation for people who don't get A's in my class, but okay. And he wrote a beautiful letter, but yeah.
Let's see. There are, I want to say like my last semester was the most memorable because they were like smaller classes and you kind of get to know the teachers. I think the only one, like we had some like really good conversations. I did a, what was it? It was like the history of the Holocaust, essentially. That teacher was very nice. And I did a lot of like, it was good reading, and important reading too. And it just kind of opened my eyes. Like I had an idea, but like you get into the nitty gritty of it, and it's just like heavy shit. But because I had that trust with that professor, that it just like it felt like learnable instead of like this is just eating sad soup. But yeah, I think there's one teacher that I just it was just like a Greek mythology class, and I missed one of the tests, and he was just such a hard ass about it. And that's like I'm like, please, I fucked up. I get it.
You gotta lay it off.
Can you please just let me
chill, man?
Fucking retake this one thing.
Seriously.
I have a shift till 2 a.m. This is an 8 a.m. class. I'm trying my best. You're
at a Zeus. I need you to be at like a Hermes.
Please.
That's so crazy, dude. I do find that like college classes that are like so specific sometimes, like history of Holocaust, when it's like kind of specialized, the professors, they care about it so much, and that comes across in their teaching. Like I was fortunate enough to take some really weird classes at University of Maryland that counted as electives, because you have to take like fucking English 101, you got to take a humanities, you got to take a history, even though you're like, why do I have to do this? Like there's no fucking reason I need to take Spanish unless I actually need it for this reason. But like putting it in the requirements is so. I loved Spanish actually, even though I had a German teacher. It's fucking crazy. But the first day she was like, in Spanish, she goes, "What did you guys do this summer?" And I was like, "¿Cómo se dice?" like immediately was like, how do you say this word? How do you say this word? How do you say this word? And she was like, come see me after class. I got a B plus, but yeah. So I understand that you also are learning ASL. Is that right?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
sick, dude.
Yeah. I've been doing pretty well. But like life kind of got a little busy, so I've had to kind of take a step back. But I like every now and then I see myself kind of like, let's just do the alphabet. Let's just kind of figure
Mhm.
this all out while I'm kind of keeping it fresh in the brain.
No
Um,
doubt.
and I'm just like saying sentences like, how would I say this? And I just kind of like go through the motions from whatever, like we talk about clothes, teaching, learning, teacher, all these stuff. And I just kind of like reinforce it over time. But it's been so good. And the reason I started this, because like at PAX U, um, Johnny from Talking XP,
Mhm.
um, and two other creators, I do believe they're creators, were signing in front of me. And I'm like, I've always been interested. I want to try this out. And the individual, I'm gonna mess up their name, so I'm not gonna say it. Said, here's a you can use this site. It's just an online course, and it's called Queer ASL. So I've been using their classes, and
Sick.
it's pretty cool. And
That's
I'm super
awesome.
excited, like learning. And then now, what's it called? By the end of the month, I'm going to be moving to Korea, so I'm just gonna have to learn Korean now. Just thrown into the
Dude,
deep end.
that's wild. You're moving to Korea?
Yes.
Whoa,
It's been on
dude.
the DL because I've always nervous that like at any point before that happens, they're just gonna pull out and say, "Nah, don't come to Korea to teach English." And I'm like,
Mm.
Oh
so I haven't.
man.
So yeah.
That's so cool, dude. You're going to like near Seoul, or do you know
Yeah,
where
yes.
specifically? Oh
Yeah,
fuck.
there's a place called Gyeonggi-do, but I don't know like the address. There's like four names, and I just don't know what it means yet. Like I think it's like a district and then a city and then like a smaller thing. Like it's just kind of narrows it down.
Mm.
Yeah.
But currently, it's like this place has four names, and I'm trying my best.
Man, that is crazy. You know, my sister and I, every single morning we say "annyeonghaseyo" to each other.
Hmm.
Just like we started watching some K dramas, and we watched Singles Inferno, and then we
Hmm.
watched Physical 100. And so we just
Oh
got
yeah,
into a
yeah.
string of watching like a bunch of Korean shows together. Not to mention like this is so fucking dumb, but like, and we recognize that it's dumb, but we did those like ancestry tests. This
Hmm.
is back like a month before we were like, oh, maybe it's not a good idea to have this private company have our fucking spit. Too late.
Yeah.
But it came back, and you know how it'll do those like 0.01% of this
Hmm.
like random thing. You're like, that's a mistake. Like that's an outlier. That can't be. So like I had 0.4% Japanese or something like that, and my
Hmm.
sister had South Korean. And I remember both of us, like we were watching the World Cup, being like, those are my guys right there. Like you don't even know. I'm like, those are my guys.
There's a weird allegiance you have when you start watching these like world sports, like the Olympics and the
Mm.
World Cup, and it's just like, I know a guy, my best friend's there. That's my team now.
Right.
I have, yeah, and especially because like in college, I was a part of this. I went through a weird religious experience throughout my life,
Mhm.
where in college I went through a period that I call my Christian phase, where I was a part of a group on campus called Korean Campus Ministry.
Mhm.
So I have a lot of Korean friends because of that. So
Yeah.
like I yeah, I've always had like an affinity for it. I have my best friend who lives in New York who just had a baby is Korean and stuff, and like so I think about it all the time. Um
Mhm.
I've wanted to go to South Korea so badly. So that's so cool. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's some the people I
I'm
tell,
so
they're
pumped
like,
for you.
yeah, they're like, can we? If I can I stay? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's a little shitty, a tiny apartment, sure, because they already got me housing and everything.
Damn, bro. That's crazy. And you're getting out of this fucking shithole country. So that's sick, dude. That's sick.
Yeah,
Bring
I had
us with you.
a little conversation. I'm like, am I running away, or is this just me experiencing the world? And I'm like, maybe a little bit of both. I don't know.
Tactical retreat.
It's tactical.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Switching gears, getting into some TTRPG talk. I'm gonna bounce around. We've talked already so much. So first question, Adrian, just to get us into your TTRPG experience, so that we can learn about you as a TTRPG player, as a game master, as all of those things. What's your favorite shape of dice?
You know what? I was thinking the D8s, but I think I do love a good caltrop, so the D4.
Interesting.
It's my favorite.
Interesting.
Actual caltrop D4 somewhere. Like
I was gonna say,
it's like
how do you guys
super pointy.
Oh,
It's meant to
yeah,
hurt.
that'll
It's
kill you.
metal.
It's meant to hurt.
That'll kill you. How do you guys feel about the alternative shape dice?
Oh, I love them.
I do too.
Except for
this
like
is
a
also
D-
a D4.
See,
But
I
it's
like
got little
those.
hearts on it.
I like that.
There's a runic D20 where it's just kind of very cylindrical. But I've seen it, like this guy that used it, when he rolled it, he would just like go past the 17 and then it'd come back to it. I'm like, it's uneven. Like I clearly
weird,
see
yeah.
that it's just going to like 2 to 3 numbers, and I'm like, how do I tell a guy that you can't roll those?
Yeah. There are different there's like some dice aren't made for gambling. They're not made for the chance element of things. Like it does skew things. So yeah, that is always interesting.
I've had my eye on one of those the spinner style dice. It's got
Those look cool too.
It's got like either like a button or something where it's spring loaded and it'll spin the dice and then it'll stop and there's a little arrow that points at it.
I've seen those too. Those are good.
Yeah. Is there a TTRPG, Adrian, that you think more people should check out?
Yeah.
That you think doesn't get enough love?
10 Candles. I think it gets a lot of love, but I think it needs more. Have you heard of 10 Candles?
I have heard of 10 Candles. Yes.
Oh, I had the pleasure of having a in-person 10 Candles like 2 New Years ago, I think. Yeah, it was me, Alex, Curtis, and my brother, and we all kind of, I mean, at the end you all die, you all know that, and it's so good. It's so nice. All the candles go out. We're outside in a cabin. It's eerily quiet, and you have time to kind of reflect about what has gone on.
Woof.
That's crazy.
It sounds fun.
Yeah,
it does sound fun. It's like, I love that game brings so much atmosphere and vibes from its very like layout, from the setup of the game itself, and like the quote unquote mechanics, if you will, candles, however you want to reference them. It sets up so much vibes on their own.
Yes, exactly.
It's so interesting. And isn't it true that if a candle goes out accidentally, that it counts?
It does count.
Like if you accidentally like move your hand too fast and like one of the candles goes out, like that counts. That counts as putting the candle out.
It adds such a presence to everything you do, because like there's people who gasp, or people who kind of like relief sigh. Oi. Sorry, my dog, she's upset.
You're good.
And you see the flicker of the flames, and people are just like panicking, and they just kind of look at you with like eyes widening. And,
oh man,
I've also seen it where like if it feels appropriate, you could also just kind of purposely put one out just to kind of like, yeah, you know what, this feels like the right moment for this to happen. So
that's dope. That's dope.
So
yeah.
dope.
I've been meaning to play. I was supposed to play at PAX U with Molly Adeza, but it just never packs. You know how it is.
Yeah, I know,
fucking
I do,
insane.
I
There's no
do.
time for shit most of the time. But okay, so kids on bikes. That's one of the things we want to talk about a little bit, because not only do they have mechanics for failing forward, but also you play as a character named Leo
Yes.
Diaz in our next production called Kids on Jetskis. Sort of a 90s vibe, mystery, intrigue, comedy, action, romance, a little bit of everything.
Just a little thing.
Just a touch of romance here and there. Had you, before we played, I believe you had played Kids on Bikes before.
Yeah.
What is your experience with Kids on Bikes? What do you like about it?
I think that it's not a difficult system to kind of get a hold of, especially since like you get in D&D. Oh, here's your skill tree. Here's this. Here's that. You get a set amount of things right off the bat. I mean, yes, use one of every dice, but like it's stagnant. It's there. That's it. And the main thing you got to take care of is adversity tokens. So I enjoy this for something that's kind of easy on the go, and let's make this happen. And it doesn't have as much buy-in, like mechanic wise, but like still you get to play a character that grows with failure. So super exciting stuff.
Absolutely. 100%. And Taylor, I know you've played Kids on Bikes with us now a couple of times throughout different actual plays that will come out eventually and the like. Because I know that, have either of you ever DM'd Kids on Bikes? I know Taylor, I know you haven't. Adrian, have you ever DM'd or GM'd or whatever the fuck? I'm so used to DM. It's the goddamn name of our podcast. It's like, Jesus. But
have I? I think I have. It's been a while. I think I've done it once. I think I've mostly been a player in these kind of scenarios.
Yeah. What I love about Kids on Bikes is truly it's how loose the system is and how easy it is to pick up. There's not a ton of moving parts. It did, like, my very first time running Kids on Bikes was my very first time playing Kids on Bikes. Like, genuinely, I was like, I've seen a couple episodes of the Dimension 20 stuff where they used either Kids on Bikes or a adjacent similar hack or Kids on Brooms or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I get this. No problem.
Yeah, here we are.
It's easy. I can figure this out. And like, granted, there are parts of the game that I still haven't truly explored, like the powered NPC character that the players it's whatever. But you created a character that I think would be very near and dear to Taylor's heart, because we did an episode recently called all about clues and whodunits and mysteries and all those kinds of things. And so you created a character named Leo Diaz. I forget what the name of the trope was, but it was like detective. It was like some kind of
so.
Yeah, it was the one, something like that. Yeah, the sleuth. Talk to us a little bit about Leo Diaz.
Leo
and
Diaz.
How much of yourself is in that character?
A little to a lot. Leo Diaz is a young man who is absorbed in books. There's not a lot else going on. He's got a public library card that he uses all the time, and that's how he spent his day. So when he came to camp, it was just kind of like, okay, I mean, at least I have my books kind of feeling. So he didn't really plan on making any friends, but as camp does, it forces you to make friends. I think the things that kind of like I put in there was like, I used to really enjoy kind of reading books and, the Magic Tree House, Encyclopedia Brown. Those were kind of my go-tos. So like I put that into Leah's. And then just the love of like Pokemon and then just like being able to talk to someone that you like. To be honest, that's still difficult to me. I'm still learning. But I'm getting better. I'm getting better. But just like Leo Diaz, it just takes time.
100%. Sometimes you need that other person to make their first move. And so if Aaron Fisher has to put a post-it on the bulletin board at Camp Can of Coke and draw a little picture of a Pokeball and write, I choose you. And we have to do that. That's fine.
Listen, I just let me know. I just don't like playing that game of maybe, maybe not.
100%. Trust me, I have a deep fear of being misunderstood or like misinterpreted or something like that. So
Right.
can sometimes come across as like an over explainer a lot of times, or I'm just like drowning somebody in words because I'm like, let me make sure you get where I'm coming from, actually, because God forbid I get misconstrued.
Right.
It's like
God
such a
forbid
fear
you
of
feel
mine.
like this is not the intentions are wrong here. Here's it again
Yeah.
in a 10-page essay.
In high school, I was doing the whole like, can I kiss you move? And at the time, I remember telling other like dudes around me and being like, no, I asked her and she said yes. So then I kissed her and I knew there's no like, will I get rejected? It's like,
Right.
if you will get rejected, she'll say no. And then and then you don't have to go in and lean
Clear
in and do this
cut.
awkward thing and whatever.
Song and
And
dance.
it was funny because like some guys would be like, that's a crazy thing to do, blah, blah, blah. That's not what they do in the movies, blah, 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 whatever, right? And then,
Yeah.
but then if you told like your friends or whatever, they'd be like, "Oh my god, that's so cute. That's so cute that you
That's so
act." And I was
sweet.
like, "See, I'm telling you guys, consent is cute and fun. Just do it." I don't understand. So
It's so
I'm
cute.
so paranoid that it's just like, let me just ask. Let me just ask.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'd rather just verbally get shut down than like me lean in and somebody be like, "What are you doing?" Like that's a
Dude,
fucking nightmare.
shivers down the back, cold sweat immediately.
Yeah, man. No chance. Adrian, on a podcast, you said that elves are boring. Do you want
Yeah.
to stand by that statement? How do you feel?
Oh, fuck yeah. Sorry. Heck yeah. Listen,
You
it's
can
like the
swear.
like my favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate. Okay, cool. Way to tell me you're boring. Listen,
I
go
kind of
ahead.
feel a little attacked right now,
I
but
will
that's
attack you. I will attack you.
That's so funny. My
um,
favorite ice cream flavor is coffee.
coffee.
mm.
Don't get me started with coffee. I,
What do you
I
mean?
hate I hate coffee. I can't drink the damn thing.
What? First of all, coffee ice cream is different because it's sugary, but uh, I also drink my coffee black, so I maybe not. I may be biased.
What is
I'll drink it cold, like room temperature black coffee. I love it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So elves are boring. Like just that is the anything else then
They're just like, yes, if I want to be the, what, I get a nice, like, I can't be put to sleep. I
Mhm.
don't sleep. I meditate. I only take 4 hours. Okay, optimize. I get it. Cool. They're
Fey ancestry. Yep.
they're the hottest race like in the media. Okay, cool. Well, you don't want to be a dwarf because they're small and stout. Like, come on, man. Have some love for the other races.
I get it. I get it to a certain degree. It was a funny statement that I heard in that podcast. But let me ask you this, and then we're gonna move on to the failing forward topic a little bit, briefly. Why do you think so? Obviously, our podcast is called So You Want to Be a Dungeon Master.
Mhm.
Why do you think that people should try being a game master or a dungeon master and actually running the games as opposed to always being the player? Like, what is the advantage of running games? Even if it ends up being something that you're like,
Mhm.
I tried it, it's not for me, which is totally fair.
Right.
But what do you think is like, why should people try being a game master or a dungeon master?
Because it gives you appreciation for the craft, and an understanding of what goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of like, I guess, pressure upon DMs that doesn't need to be there. Like, oh, I have to do all this stuff. I'm like, yes, you have to kind of figure out what you're gonna do that day, who's there, who's in town, all this stuff. But also, like, because you're working with like a bunch of different minds, they will fill out some of the stuff by
Mm-hmm.
the actions that they want to take, the actions that they know their characters take. And I think that having that understanding once you become the DM instead of just being a singular person, that you see, oh, here's the here's the view from the panopticon. Like I can see everything that they're seeing, and I can get to go back and just like, okay, this is why he's doing this. This is why they're doing this. That's why she's doing this kind of thing. So like I think a better appreciation for what a DM does.
Hmm. I totally agree. I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of why we do it, is because it genuinely, I think it just teaches you a bunch of skills that sometimes you miss out on if you're only a player.
Yes,
Because there's like a balancing act that comes with being a DM, because there's just so many plates that you're spinning.
yes.
Whether it's like pacing, mechanics, storytelling, spotlighting, all of these different little tiny things, like pure mediation, if sometimes arises that you got to fucking deal with or something. Scheduling matters, communication, organization, session zeros. Like there's so many things that you could do as the GM that, yeah, I do think even just trying it for a little bit, running a one shot, even if it's a simple game like Kids on Bikes or something, I think it just teaches you so much. When we play games and we have other DMs or GMs at the table, the games are just better. The stories are more interesting and fulfilling, I find. So it's like, man, proof positive of just give it a shot. Even if it's not for you and you love being a player, that's totally fine.
Yeah, but it does kind of give back to what Adrian was saying of the players kind of filling out the space. I think with DMs as players, they tend to do more of that lifting of the story themselves, which is always a good thing. Like it's
so true.
They're usually ready with some kind of backstory, something, usually ready with some kind of maybe a subplot or something that could be worked into the story. Just a little something to fill in some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like bring in another player who's like a little shy, like involving other people in scenes is like something you'll easily see a fellow DM do. But maybe like obviously there's like there's nuance, there's fucking whatever. But I do think that's important. So failing forward, we've already talked so much about Adrian and how they got to where they are today and everything like that. And of course, as much as is true for myself, for Taylor, failures across the entire path that we have led to be here today. But you keep trucking through, keep pushing forward. Kids on Bikes is interesting because, like Taylor mentioned earlier in the episode, it has like an entire mechanic based around failure that helps you fail forward, not just story wise, but like legitimately just mechanically. Every time you, I say, hey, make a brains check, DC 5, and you roll the dice and you say, I got a 3. Okay, you fail. You did not hit the DC, but you get an adversity token, a resource that you can build up and you can spend on different things, such as bonuses to different roles, activating abilities, sharing them with your friends if you're in a shared scene together. And so this question kind of goes to both of you. What did this feel like as a player in a game that has this focus on failing forward, not just story wise, but mechanically as well? Did it make you feel more, I guess, just how did it make you feel? Did it make you feel more encouraged to try bigger swings, or did it,
I definitely was more for going for the goof, regardless of whether or not it worked out. I know I was getting some kind of resource back, so it makes it was very easy for me to go, will I do this? Yeah, let's go for it. What's the harm in trying? I'm gonna at least give it a shot.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, there's so many instances where in a D&D game, you might normally be like, well, I'm not the rogue. I don't have thieves' tools proficiencies. I'm not even going to try to unlock the door.
Right.
Whereas Kids on Bikes is like, fucking try it, dude, because then the next door is going to be a little bit easier because now you have adversity tokens or whatever. So I do think that's really big.
Yeah. It felt like, I think during our game, it was like a resource that we all were like holding on to because they were so important to crucial moments, and it allowed us to make the story, after those failures, to make a story that we wanted to tell even after the dice said otherwise, which kind of came out to kind of help us feel in control versus just the whims of chances.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because Kids on Bikes is interesting in that because of the different dice that are assigned to each stat, there are some times where you hear a DC and you're like, there's not a chance I can hit that. There's no way. And yet you should still try because you never know. Because with the exploding, whatever they call it actually in the book is like lucky breaks, I think they're called.
Yeah.
But the exploding mechanism of like being able to re-roll the dice and keep adding them up and going, and the fact that your worst stat is more likely to blow up.
Right.
And so there's all these little intricate parts of the mechanic that are kind of gearing you towards that. Now that all is so helpful for the player. But really quickly for the DMs and the GMs, now in D&D, they use like difficulty class, same as Kids on Bikes in a certain regard, although the numbers are slightly different. But we always, Taylor and I, always recommend that we use scales because it's just a little bit more interesting. Hey, make a perception check. It's not a hit a 15. If you're below a 15, you see nothing. And above a 15, you see everything. It's like, that's to us, that's a little boring. And it makes a lot more sense to give you a scale of if you roll a 5, you see less. If you roll a 25, you see a lot more. And it's a scale. How, as GMs and DMs, a lot of these TTRPGs have their own version of that scale, but it's this idea of like you can either have a success with complications, or a failure. So a game like When the Crypt is Open, or a lot of the Powered by the Apocalypse games have something kind of similar to that. Kids on Bikes kind of has that kind of thing of this idea of like success, but there are complications. How do we come up with complications? Like, what do you guys, is that something that you guys find challenging, especially making the switch from D&D where like you don't have to do it that way? I've started to incorporate like reverse engineer it back into D&D, where even if I say in my head, I'm like, this lock is a DC 15 lock and somebody gets a 14, I'm gonna let them pick the lock, and it just takes longer, or it's louder, or there's always like something that makes it negative, even though there's success, aka failing forward. What about for you guys? Is that a challenging thing to come up with complications, or is it like,
I don't know if I'd say it's super challenging. It's tough, but really in the moment of like when this role is happening, I generally tend to think of, okay, so what could go wrong in this situation? Like what if they're picking a lock, what is something that could go wrong? Oh, well, the locks could pick, the picks could break. Oh, they could hear you on the other side of the door. Oh, there's things that the action itself leads to the complication.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that like due to my need to explain everything, that I always kind of like always have an idea of why something happens. So I'm already kind of like geared to have a good complication here and there. But I think that I do currently still use like the success fail mechanic. But it is interesting. It's kind of like I'm running it through my brain now, and I'm I just sorry, I'm just processing.
No, all good. It truly, for me, it was always like a little interesting thing because like when you're coming from D&D, I remember the first time playing other systems where I was constantly rolling success with complications. Like it felt like I could never get a perfect success. It was always complications attached to it. And as a player, only because of the switch and like not being used to other systems, there was a tiny part of me that was like, fuck these fucking complications, man. I can't get anything done without there being some kind of complication. And like, but nowadays, I think I've gotten so much more used to making the complication feel more natural and deserved, where it like makes sense story wise why this complication is arising. And to make it feel like I don't want the complication to necessarily overshadow the success. to where that's all the player is focusing on,
Mhm.
Right.
right? Because it's success.
It's still
With
a success.
complications.
Yeah.
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 And then last thing before we hand it over to Adrian to tell us our sponsor for this week's episode, can you guys think of a time in your TTRPG careers where you had a moment where a character failed, whether you were the GM, DM, or the player? Think of a moment when a failure truly was like a really interesting part of the story. While you guys think of that, I can give you my answer for this, since I spoke to our outline person beforehand, so I knew this question was coming. But for me, truly, there have been some monumental moments. I recently had played a game for a show that hasn't come out yet and probably will later this year, but like I was playing a bard who had one of the other PCs is playing my ex-wife, like our characters, our ex-husband and ex-wife or whatever. I remember one time I rolled really well on a thing. So it wasn't, mechanically speaking, I actually succeeded. And it was this like persuasion check or performance check as I was playing the guitar on this for this little song. And Justin, actually sang a song. I wrote lyrics to, I changed the lyrics to Halsey's I'm Bad at Love. So, I'm bad at love. Do that song. And the song went through the air vents of the airship and it goes into my ex's room and she hears it. And she hears what is essentially a successful performance check of this song. And in her head, beautifully done by this is Jen, Cancer Moon Cleric, absolutely fucking crushes it. But like her interpretation of that wasn't like, oh, they're singing a beautiful song. It was like, they keep fucking singing songs about me, this motherfucker. I'm not just your fucking muse. Like, I'm a person. And it like that was how they interpret it differently than the way that my character intended it. And it was just, bro, that she stormed down the hallway. Her character literally goes into a rage because she was a multi-class barbarian bard. So she goes into a rage as she's approaching me, and the blowout, her yelling at me and stuff. It truly was like, oof, this reminds me of like bad relationships I've been in, like the arguing. And I was like, man, this is like triggering something for me. This was like, it was a beautiful and incredible story moment where I was like, yeah, that feels like failure. All right. I fucking failed. I was trying to have her like me again and I absolutely fucked it somehow. And I rolled well. I was like, oh, damn. It was beautiful. That was awesome.
My brain immediately goes to the Nat 1 on episode 2 of Sphinx City season 1.
When where your character dies.
I completely full died on a live stream. Yeah.
Our first ever actual play ever. First combat in the first actual play ever. And Taylor rolls a Nat 1 on death saves and dies. And in that moment, dude, you should, if you go back and watch it, you see the panic in both of our. Taylor actually doesn't look panicked. Taylor looks like kind of pissed. Where Taylor's just like, you see him lean back in his chair where he's like, all right, I'm dead. And you're like, oh no. And then you see the panic in my face where I'm like, how do I bring this guy back? There's no healers in the group. No one has Revivify because we're only level 3. What the hell are we going to do? So it was quickly like, okay, I have this idea for a warlock patron that I've been cooking up for a while named Rodney Mullen, based on the skater.
That's why it sounded familiar.
What if?
Yep. And so I made a pact with Rodney Mullen and I got my soul back. And now I yell at youths to do kickflips is like the
That's
curse.
Part of the pact.
The curse that I got as for coming back is I have to, if I see
have
youths,
to yell, do a kickflip.
if I see youths with skateboards, I have to yell, do a kickflip.
So good.
Comes unbidden to my lips.
But what about you, Adrian? Does anything come to mind?
I found it. It was when one of my players failed their wisdom save against Strahd. So it was like near the end of the battle, and it's the party's rogue kind of climbs away, looks over a balcony, and comes face to face, gets glamored, and then just like steals the things that they've spent all session collecting and just hands it over. And everyone, because I had everyone roll, just hey, can you like in their DMs roll me a d20, roll me a d20, roll me a d20, as they see if the rogue is getting caught taking the item, and just like what's it called? I went into their character sheets. I deleted the items. So like when they finally come back, like it's right here, and I'm like, check it again, and then like, you motherfucker. It felt
Dang.
so good.
You went into their character sheets. That's crazy. In a good way.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's something. I haven't done that yet because I'm one of those DMs who truly is like, people are like, should I send you my character sheet? And I go, do you feel confident about your character sheet? Then no.
Yeah.
I can't look at too much more stuff. I'm already strapped. Like, and then what ends up happening is somebody brings in a homebrew magic item from a previous campaign that I should have checked and I didn't check. They offered me to check it. I said no. And then mid combat, I'm going, you get how many attacks? How much damage does this item do?
54.
Yeah.
Actually send me the document because I don't think this works. And then the object mysteriously breaks between episodes 3 and 4.
Yep.
But Adrian, it's been such a pleasure talking to
Of
you.
course.
So much fun. We absolutely must stay in touch. I have been meaning to get myself a passport. I've never been outside the country. It's a huge fucking disappointment in my life. Been to
This will be my
Epcot a
first
bunch.
time.
That's as close as it gets. Really? You too?
Yeah, this will be your first time, so I'm super excited.
Oh, sick, dude. Yes. Hell yes. Well, I would love to go to South Korea to visit you, although no guarantees. I'm broke as hell. So,
yes.
speaking of being broke as hell, God, I'm fucking crushing it today. Let's transition right into our sponsorship for this week's episode. Adrian, what do you got for us?
Guys, have you ever thought about being a cop?
No?
Well, do I have the product for you?
Oh.
Today we're sponsored by Pig Noses.
Pig nose. Okay.
Yes. For those that just want to feel like the worst piece of shit ever, get yourself a not genuine plastic made pig nose.
And you know what? That's all we can get into this time. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at So You Want to Be a DM, or you can ask us a question at SoYouWantToBeADM@gmail.com. If you liked the episode, don't forget to give us 5 stars and a review wherever you found us, and check out the Patreon, the Twitch, and the merch with the link in the description. Join us next time for more Dungeon Master tips and tricks.
Bye.
Peace.
Hey gang, it's Justin. I have the honor of giving a shout out to the members of our Patreon gang. Nub Muffins, may Palor's light shine upon you. Marsavies, have you watered your flesh prison lately? Yazvi, the eternal library where color and community await you. Molly Adeza, who gets yet another level up. And there's Elijah, Tappy, and Linguini. Gang, we appreciate and love you. Tune in next time for more tips and tricks from So You Want to Be a DM.